Now, I'll be the first to admit that Dead or Alive 6 isn't for me, mostly because I'm not a huge fan of fighting games outside of stand-up arcade games. Get me in front of a stand-up machine, give me some old-fashioned Street Fighter or even some Killer Instinct or something like that, and I'll play all day long. I've never really liked playing fighting games on consoles, and that's just the way it is. However, I've been watching reviews come out which are curiously ignoring probably the biggest abomination of Dead or Alive 6, and that is the fact that they have a nearly $100 season pass on a $60 title. But most people, of course, are concerned about jiggling. That's right, jiggling. And if you want to read high-quality game reviews, everyone knows that you go to sites like Eurogamer, VG247, IGN. These are the premier video game reviews. Now, of course, I might recommend going to exclusivelygames.com. By the way, link in the pinned comment. Go bookmark it today. Check it out. But nonetheless, Dead or Alive 6 review, naff and likely to embarrass. Better off dead. Dead or Alive 6 stumbles into 2019 like a drunken uncle staggers onto the dance floor at a wedding. Past it and likely to embarrass. It's interesting. Apparently, Dead or Alive 6 is totally different than all the other DOAs or DOA volleyball or anything like that. This time, it's for real. Of course, you know that it is a real. You know that it is a real gamer, a real gamer boy, a real video game review when they, of course, talk about, that's right, Donald Trump. But her interactions with wrestler partner and father Bass give off more of a whiff of the most uncomfortable of relationships, Donald and Ivanka Trump. That's right. Gotta squeeze that into. Now, I'm going to look at this hilarious games journalist review. And now, I noticed some of the my international fans that enjoy my videos don't know the nexus of journalists. Well, here in the States, in public bathrooms and in only the most castle of homes, there are things that men pee into. It is called a urinal. I don't know what you might call it in other countries. I assume urinals exist outside of, the United States. But this is peak urinalism. Of course, let's take a look at Dead or Alive 6. First, the most egregious, in my opinion, being the fact that it is launching 10% off on Steam. So it is already on sale for whatever reason, okay, for $53.99. But if you notice down here, there is a DOA 6 season pass for $92.99. A $100 season pass. Now, you look at some of the reviews, and obviously people aren't a fan of this. No custom lobbies. I'm told the lobbies are in the works, but to not have them at launch seems odd. $100 season pass. More like I'll pass. 4 out of 10. I see Katie's filthy money hoard tactics here. Horrible costume system by collecting costume points. To unlock, you have to rely on luck, and these points are random characters plus random costume. $100 season pass. 50 costumes plus 2 characters for that much money. Soul Calibur offered $60 for 5 characters plus 100 plus costumes. What a ripoff. No lobby mode and early release. Never learned any lessons from DO5. That tells me their work ethics. Of course, lobbies will be coming later this month, and it's not all doom and gloom. Overall, if you look at the game scores, and I don't really care about game review scores, the meta scores, but here on Metacritic 5.8, again, not great, but if you dial in, there's only like 4 or 5 user reviews, so it's hard to say, and you've got a 1.0 hanging out there. Now it's up to a 5.9. You see 2 zeros, which again, I don't think are necessarily helpful, to have a 0 score. Unbelievably cringy story plus censorship with the topping or main dish of a years-long overpriced DLC. So again, the $100 DLC is leading to a couple zeros, but most people seem okay with it. If you look at the Open Critic score, This sitting strongly at 79 top critics, and 82% of critics recommend. But of course, we've seen Eurogamer top here, no recommendation. That's why I was like, interesting. We see GameSpot with a 7, Destructoid with a 6, which is also kind of a pearl clutchy outlet. 3 stars, so it's about middle of the road. And when I see a review like that, I'm generally thinking that, okay, existing fans, like DOA 5 fans, are probably going to like it. It's not doing much to change the landscape of its fandom, but you know what? That's okay. But it doesn't mean that we can't have some pearl clutching and a hilarious double standard. If you're with me right now, you're going to want to stick around for the reveal at the end because it is delicious. Dead or Alive, the boob game, the kawaii cash grab, the Japanese fighter more famous for its bouncing breasts and then its juggle combos. How many new mainline DOA game come out in 2019? Did Team Ninja, a developer that I thought had reinvented itself with superb neo-loose, a bet with Koei Tecmo or something? However it happened. The result of the game is at best naff, at worst grim. DOA 6 has endured tiresome, weird bait and switch from developers at Team Ninja. At reveal, we were told the heavily sexualized female characters of old had been ditched in favor of more realistic look in line with heavy-hitting fighting. Well, obviously, anybody who was watching that unravel knew they were just saying that to placate to you people. I mean, one of DOA's best marketing, just look at them at EVO. The best marketing tactic they have is their beautiful women. I think they're beautiful, fictitiously, of course. Series star Kasumi was shown wearing an outfit that covered her up and looked a bit more like a modern-day ninja would wear to battle. You know, it was an outfit that made sense. Oh, is that what we're worried about? But the game itself, though, betrays the marketing spiel, exposing it for lip service it always was. By default, the female character's boobs bounce around like balloons tied to a string. You can turn this off in the settings. So, okay, what's the problem? And look, I mean, that the physics of DOA have never been... I mean, it's not like enough to make me, someone who doesn't enjoy playing fighting games, pick up a game and play it. I don't think that it would be for many people, but if you are a fighting game fan, it is what I would call a USP. That is a marketing term, unique selling proposition or prospect or whatever. That's what makes DOA 6 unique. The skimpiest outfits, some of which are nothing more than a pair of knickers and a bra, must be unlocked by playing the game. And Team Ninja has stuck with the icky camera-free roam. Victory poses. Make no mistake, DOA 6 is alive, warts and all. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe this is one of those things where, I mean, it's very clear to me that this person is reviewing a game that they, at Jump Street, do not like for obvious played out reasons that the women, about how the women look. So why would you have somebody who is so clearly an anti-fan of a game review it? I'm not saying you have to have someone who is a mega fan review games, but when they're so transparently pearl clutching before the review even starts, why would I even bother listening to your opinion? Hanoka, who, according to her bio, is 18-year-old Japanese student, but come on, is low-hanging fruit for thirsty kawaii fans. Well, I don't know. I mean, again, that's a weird assertion to make. Similarly, Marie Rose, officially an 18-year-old Swedish maid, but yeah, come on. Is kitted out to be some sort of teen, naughty slave. Wrestler Tina Armstrong's skimpy outfit at least makes some sort of sense in a WWE diva sort of way. But her actions with her wrestling partner and father, again, bring up Donald Trump. I can't help but feel embarrassed to have Hanoka and Tina's physics-defying bobs float around on my telly. Dead or Alive 6 is a video game that includes characters I steer clear of because of how grim they are. What a world. Again, this is a review, okay? You see it listed on review aggregate websites, and all this dude can talk about is how the women look. To me, you can't have it both ways. So either you can like hashtag free the nip, or and have women wear what they want and be empowered. You can't then hashtag free the nip and then complain that they're skimpily dressed in this video game. Again, don't like it, don't play it in general. But the review does have some interesting tactics in here. He's saying, Dead or Alive feels janky to me, with odd, jerky animations of many of the characters. Quality varies. You feel like more work has gone into the well-known characters, such as Bayman and Kasumi, as some of the supporting cast. Even some of the idle animations look really odd, elbows moving in a way that they really shouldn't as chests expand and collapse. Fluidity is hard to come by here. Clothing often clips into limbs, and hair moves as if the character were underwater. This is, I think, a legitimate critique. What would be better is an actual video showing it, but I mean, that would require probably a little too much work. If you fancy getting the most out of a fighting system behind DOA 6, you'll find the need for quick reactions. Characters move and strike fast. Okay, good. So we're talking about video games, finally. But you spend the first 5 paragraphs talking about political things, including literally Donald Trump. So it kind of mutes any important things you have to say. You talk about plenty of escape routes, retains the hold and sidestepping systems of previous systems. There's interesting mechanics at play. Quite like the way the 4 hold systems work, which lets you counterattack by pressing the hold button and pushing a direction that corresponds to the attack. So there's obviously lots of depth to the combat system, but again, these challenges are mildly interesting at first. They get old fast. Elsewhere, it's a slim pickings. There are character-specific combo challenges, move lists to work through as simple as arcade mode, time attack, survival, and not much else. The grind, if there is one, is unlocking costumes. Okay, fine. This is reasonable critique. Online lobbies aren't available at launch. You can only play ranked matches. Again, also, fair critique. I'm struggling. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm saying, okay, you are a games journalist at some point here, right? But again, this is all what appears to be packaging for you really to be mad about the way the girls are dressed. It's quite cool to nail these special attacks. Perhaps the best thing about DOA 6 is the thump it makes when your fist slams in your opponent's face in slow motion. Usually you end up knocking some clothing off. This is Dead or Alive after all. DOA 6 does a decent job of imparting useful information on screen. Okay, so it seems like overall the game's good, but then you finish again with, I can't help but struggle to understand those who get horny from this game when the internet in all its glory is a mobile phone tap away. I mean, there's a lot sexier stuff made out of source of filmmaker, probably involving Dead or Alive girls, than in this game. DOA 6 stumbles, blah, blah, blah. We saw that. Again, so the reviewer basically reduces anybody who might like DOA 6 into some sort of degenerate. Like, the only reason people buy this game is for FAP material. I mean, maybe there's some people out there that do that. I don't know. It's their $60. I'd be more concerned if they're buying the $100 season pass. But it's interesting that this author has such a problem with the female form when they wrote this article not that long ago. Resident Evil 2 mod strips Mr. X down to an umbrella thong. Here's a thong. Have you considered what Mr. X from the Resident Evil remake looks like underneath that trench coat? Wonder no more. There's a mod for that. The Beach Boy X mod, available to download from this link, replaces Mr. X's coat with a fancy swimwear, flip-flops, and sunglasses. In short, it gives Mr. X an umbrella-themed thong. In the video below, YouTube channel Gamers Prey gives Beach Boy X mod a spin. Somehow Relentless Buffroot looks more terrifying than I remember him being fully clothed. So you're saying it's an improvement to have fewer clothes? Interesting, Wesley. Interesting double standard you have there. Of note, the sunglasses replace the hat, so you can also shoot them off. And yes, I'm not sure I could resist shooting the umbrella either. So you literally write an article promoting it, giving a link to download that to take all the clothes off Mr. X, but when it's woman, you have a problem with it. I give you peak games journalism, everyone. I hope you have a sexy weekend. We'll talk to you again real soon.